Today on the table I have the AAC Prodigy. What this is a 22 long rifle silencer. It's a monocore silencer. It's got an overall length of just a touch over 5 inches and a diameter just a touch under 1 inch. Comes with this cool little case. Very lightweight. Easy for cleaning. Now I guess there's 2 tools that's recommended for taking this apart. When they ship it though, it's easy enough to take apart, but once you get all that 22 long rifle crap in there, you're going to need the tools to get it apart. And it's a real shame it doesn't come with the tools, especially at the price range. It's aluminum, let me pull up the specs real quick. I want to say T6. Yes, 6061 T6, and then the core is 7075 T6. And then your little adapter, which screws onto the actual thread of the barrel, is 416 stainless steel. It weighs just under 4 ounces, 3.9 ounces. Oh, and it's got a rating of 40 decibels is what it reduces by. So this would be stupid quiet on a 22 long rifle. Now, if you've already purchased one of these, I'm going to pause for a second. Seriously, click away from this video. You don't want to hear what I'm about to say. It's going to get pretty ugly. Alright, you had your warning. You've clicked away. Because if you didn't click away, all you're going to do is get really upset in the comments section, or you're going to start spreading propaganda. This is insanely overpriced. It is not worth the money. You don't even get the tools. I strongly recommend just getting a Chinese solvent trap and then form oneing it, because you can get those for like 40 bucks. You could buy 40 of them for the dealer cost of one of this without a markup. This should have a start cost of somewhere around like $100, $150, and it doesn't. That's ridiculous. This is probably 3 times overpriced. Now about the propaganda, in case you were wondering what I was going to say about that. So all the people that have bought this, they're going to jump in the comments and be like, the Chinese solvent trap, you're going to go to jail and the ATF is going to hit you. There was those 2 examples, even though they sell thousands of them a day, there were 2 people that got intercepted. And they're intercepting them at the border. Well, the Chinese solvent traps, they have a guarantee. If it don't make it through the border, you call them up, they'll send another one, or they'll just reimburse you your cash and you can try through a different company. Those 2 people that got intercepted, one, the first guy was a felon with firearms, which caught the attention of the law enforcement, and he just so happened to have a solvent trap. They didn't even call it a silencer because it wasn't a silencer yet. It was just a solvent trap. That was nothing. They just threw it in there to put out some propaganda. The second guy, the diesel guy, he got swatted. How do I know this? Or how? What makes me 99% sure he got swatted? And what is swatting? Well, swatting is where you'll have a viewer, usually a long-term viewer, somebody that's been following your channel for years. They know so much about you, like address, local town, basic information. They're probably a patron. He said something they didn't agree with. They got into some sort of fight in the comments section, and that guy put an anonymous tip in. So, where did this idea come from? Did I just pull it out of the air? No, there was a couple different things that were a pretty good indicator. That or he was really buying this stuff. Anyway, you got to understand, you know a lot more about me than I know about you. If you've been following this channel since the beginning, it's like you're my daughter, because she's about that same age. So it would be like that much knowing about me. You feel like you got a good feel for the personality. So when something like that happens, a lot of people take it very, very personally. And I don't know you. Like, I can't see on the other side of the camera. The connection is only one way. So, like, you're like, you know, what's going on? I've been a long time viewer in that. Like, unless you're consistent in the comments section, I have no idea. So anyway, what are the keys that he was swatted? One, they had an agent come from out of state. You're telling me there is nobody in his state that knows how to identify a silencer or somebody making a silencer. There's no ATF agency, nobody that could have come from inside the state. No. There's somebody that could have come. So what does that mean? Whether or not what they said they may or may not were there for, having somebody come outside of the state, from another state, they were looking for meth or some sort of bombs. And that was their key in. Somebody swatted them, gave an anonymous tip that, hey, this guy's cooking meth or building bombs. So then they started ripping through his computer history, and they're like, oh, you know, he purchased, because they literally came there for an oil filter. A Caterpillar oil filter has a 1/2 inch by 28 thread pattern. Like, there's nothing special about that. You can go into Napa and get that. That thread pattern just so happens to be the same pattern as the muzzle on an AR-15. Now, how much of it is true, why they were there, or why they weren't, or what they were actually looking for, I don't know. I wasn't there. He didn't release the audio to the cops coming up to the door. They could have been there for anything. But they had somebody coming from out of the state. They were looking for bombs or meth. It just so happened to be that's how they got their foot in the door. And it's a pretty stupid reason. Now, maybe he did order a bunch of these Chinese solvent traps, and they thought that he was manufacturing them and distributing them. Then I could kind of see it, but still, they would have had somebody come from inside the state, because anybody can identify this. Even if you've never touched a silencer, I could hand this to you. You could play with it a little bit. Be like, dude, isn't this a silencer? It's pretty easy to identify. So I'm pretty sure, regardless what they say, they were looking for meth or bombs. That's why they came there. So, alright, we got thousands of them that sell every single day. Like, you have no idea how much my comment section is blowing up. Like, hey, yeah, I got one. Did my Form 1. I even had a viewer come here. You can check out my video where he did a Form 1. And 2 people. That's worse than coronavirus odds. And everybody... I won't even go on that rant. Anyway, yeah, so that's ridiculous. This should cost, dealer cost, somewhere around $100. And that's getting kind of on the steep side. This is over 3 times that. This is a complete ripoff. I strongly recommend you do not buy this if you're looking for something like this, because this doesn't even have a piston in there. So unless you have a direct blowback, which most 22s are, but unless you have a direct blowback, this won't even cycle a normal handgun. And that's where a lot of the cost goes in, is the, well, I shouldn't say piston system, booster system. So yeah, get yourself a Chinese solvent trap, do your Form 1, and you'll thank me later. There's no special materials in here. It's not titanium. The core is not stainless steel. If it was, this would weigh a ridiculous amount. It's just aluminum. The only thing that's not aluminum is the little adapter right there. And is that really important? I guess if you take it on and off constantly, then yeah, it's important. But other than that, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't even come with the tools you need to take this apart after you shoot it. And it gets carbon seized. Anyway, I apologize again if you own one of these and you actually stuck through the video. But if you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links and buying the shit you were going to buy off Amazon anyway, I have a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. I also have my merch shelf going. Just scroll below the video. You can get t-shirts, stuff like that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.